So how do we face life when it happens, when we have less than therapy? Well, think about your life and think about yourself as multiple types of health, right? So we know about our mental health, we know about our physical health, but there's other types of health that impacts us. Welcome to Journey to Joy Live, a podcast to promote wellness, resilience, and joy while providing mental health awareness and breaking down the stigma of mental illness in the Black community. I'm your host, Dr. Joy, and this week I bring to you episode 48, Less Than Therapy, Daily Habits for Sustainable Sanity. Because, as you may know, not everybody is in therapy. Everybody could use therapy, but not all of us is in therapy. In fact, there are about 20% of people who actually seek therapy. 20% of African Americans seek therapy, and about 40% of white Americans seek therapy. So it's even less with Black Americans. So most of us are not in therapy, but it would be good to understand what are some strategies for less than therapy, right? There's something before therapy. As we end out May Mental Health Awareness Month, I hope you enjoyed the very special guests that I had this month. The Silence the Shame Executive Director a couple weeks ago, as well as I had a psychiatric nurse practitioner last week, and we spoke about Black male mental health. We spoke about speaking up and being transparent and not being silent and not being shameful of our own mental health. So thank you for listening and thank you for watching. So today, just to jump right in, how do we maintain our sanity in the face of stress and in the face of life? Because as Gen Zs say, life be lifing. Oh my gosh. Gen Zs, the way they talk these days. Anyhow, yes, life be lifing. That's what happens. So how do we face life when it happens, when we have less than therapy? Well, think about your life and think about yourself as multiple types of health, right? So we know about our mental health, we know about our physical health, but there's other types of health that impacts us. There's what I call aspirational health, what you aspire to be. That's your purpose. There's also financial health. That pretty much sounds self-explanatory. Your security, your financial security, making sure you can put food on your table, clothes on your back, shelter over your head, and do the same for your family. And then there's your social health, your sense of connectedness and your sense of support, socially bonding, belongingness in your society and community, in the family, having someone to love, that intimacy. So there's pretty much 5 different types of health to think about when it comes to how do I feel and why. So the mental health, the physical health, aspirational health, financial health, and social health. That's our 5 types of health. So I am here to say, when you wake up in the morning, think about all of those types of health that's within you. How is it doing? Do a reflection. How am I doing? How's my physical health? And what am I doing to take care of that? With your physical health, you obviously want to make sure you're keeping track of, just in general, making sure you're seeing a doctor and making sure you're taking your medications and making sure you're doing everything you need. But just, daily habits of healthy eating and getting sleep. At the very minimum, sleep is super helpful when it comes to your physical health, as well as what you eat and what you put in your body and exercise. So when it comes to your physical health, there's three things to make sure you're focusing on: sleep, healthy eating, and exercise. And of course, there's that medical part that I mentioned earlier, making sure you're keeping up with medications. And if you are taking medications and there's a reason you're not taking them, then talk to your doctor. Don't just stop your medication. So, thinking about what kind of habit you need to adopt in order to increase your physical health. Because if your physical health is decreasing or reducing for any reason, that can increase stress. Stress can have a big impact on your physical health, as I mentioned before. It can raise blood pressure, it can raise any type of cardiac or heart issues, causing headaches and causing you to be more susceptible to stress. Inflammation increases, cortisol increases when you're stressed out, and all of those happening inside of your body is making your body worse, and it is making your physical health basically go down the drain. So, focusing on physical health, what is one self care physical health routine that you can do each day? So, if you think about those 5 types of health, okay, what do I do today for my physical health? If you can't do everything as far as a healthy eating, making sure you're getting some sleep and exercise, you should be doing all 3. But what is one thing you can at least do each day that impacts your physical health in a positive way? And if you're taking care of that, then you can say, okay, what's my next thing I need to focus on? Because we need to focus on all of them. Mental health, right? So as far as your mental health, that's a lot of things. You're thinking about as far as your experiences, how stress impacts you mentally, your spiritual health, as well as your thoughts and your emotions. Are you able to regulate your emotions? Are you able to choose positive thoughts over negative thoughts? When a stressor comes at you, what happens? What do you usually do? Reflecting on that, journaling can help as far as your mental health and how can you increase that health. Because again, our mental health can impact our physical health. Our mental health can affect everything else. I mentioned social health, I mentioned aspirational health, what you aspire to be, and I mentioned financial health. So if our mental health is not doing so well, then there is a huge impact on everything else. And that's what we're talking about here. How do you manage that without therapy? Less than therapy. If you're not engaged in therapy, how do you do that? There's meditation that can be very, very helpful to our mental health when stress comes and tries to take away and pick away at our sanity. You know, you might feel like you're going to break. It's just that point where you have a breaking point or that you just can't deal with things anymore. Meditation can be very, very helpful to help calm your mind and declutter what's going on. I mentioned journaling. So journaling is definitely very helpful with getting things out on paper, out of your head. Because when it comes with stress and anxiety, it's just all in your head and just mixing things up and just making it worse. So when you can get it out on paper and see it and journal about it, maybe you can organize it, prioritize the things you have to do. Or maybe when you see it, you realize, oh, there's not really that much going on. Maybe I got this. I can do this. And so, those are the positive affirmations there that is helpful as well. So within meditation, there's great grounding techniques. When you are able to ground yourself and calm down and be present, that is a mindfulness technique that is against stress and against feeling like you've just lost it all. So a really good grounding technique I like to talk about is thinking about your happy place. When you think about your happy place and you put yourself in your happy place, you think about the 5 senses in your happy place. So if your happy place is the beach, that's my favorite example. What do you hear when you're at the beach? You hear the waves and they're so calming. What do you see? You see the waves, or you see the stars in the sky if you're on the beach at night. I love the beach at night. What are you touching? We're going through our five senses, right? Well, I feel the sand through my hands and it feels so good. I feel the warm water or the cold water, whatever feels good to you. What do you taste at the beach? Well, it might be the salty water if you're inside the ocean, but it could also be a pina colada that you're tasting. So already, I just feel good thinking about my happy place. And what's the last thing? Smell. What do you smell at the beach? You might smell the sand, you might smell the water, you might smell some barbecue cooking behind you. So, putting yourself in your happy place is a very good grounding technique, a mindfulness technique, a meditation technique, whatever you want to call it, but it helps put you in the present and it helps get rid of all that clutter and stress that you might be dealing with around you because that is happening. There's the parenting challenges that I mentioned, there's work challenges, there's relationship challenges, there's all kinds of things that are coming at you at once. And so that can make it difficult to focus on, okay, do I focus on my mental health, my physical health? How do I deal with all these things? So grounding and just being in the moment and being present is very helpful in thinking through your senses. Another grounding technique is actually called the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding exercise, which can be helpful. And it also helps you be present and be in the moment and to be able to declutter the things that are around you. So the way to do that, 5-4-3-2-1. So five, we start with five. What are five things that you see around you? So if you're just like super stressed out, and actually it can be helpful even when you're driving, if both babies are crying and your preteen is also nagging at you too, not saying that's me. What are five things I can see around me when I'm driving in the car? Okay, I see the traffic light, right? You want to keep facing forward. I see the traffic light. I see the public sign. I see a dog crossing the street. Being present and just being able to focus yourself. Or if you're at work and you want to go through that, I see a pen, I see a pencil, I see a sticky note on the floor. I see, it can be whatever you see. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be special. But what are five things, and acknowledge that you see around you? That's five. And then what are four things that you can touch around you? Just to quickly put yourself in the moment. I can touch my desk. I can touch my mouse. I can touch my shirt. I can touch my phone. I can touch something soft over here. I can touch the teddy bear. What are four things that you can touch around you? So if you feel like in the moment and you're stressed out, put yourself in that mindfulness technique. What are five things I can see? What are four things I can touch around me? And then next, what are three things I can hear? Well, you can include that crying baby if that is one of the three things you hear. Or I hear a train going by outside. Or I can hear the subtleness of the fan, the ceiling fan. I'm lucky that right now I don't hear anything. Just before I went live, I could hear the baby crying as he was going to sleep, but I don't hear him anymore because it means that he went to sleep. That is awesome. So it's nice to be able to hear silence. So sometimes you might hear the noise of the refrigerator or the noise of a TV or a radio or something. So thinking about five things you see around you, four things you can touch around you, three things you can hear. And then two, 5-4-3-2, right? What are two things you can smell? Maybe you're smelling your perfume. Maybe you're smelling the scent of somebody else, or the smell of paper, or the smell of some coffee that is being made in the break room. What can you smell? And then lastly, what's one thing you can taste? Is it gum? Is it mint? Is it the aftertaste of a meal that you've had? And take a deep breath. Taking a deep breath is definitely helpful when it comes to grounding. So using that helps with your mental health, helps with combating stress, and helps slow things down. 5-4-3-2-1. Five things around you can see, four things you can touch around you, three things you can hear, two things you can smell, and one thing you can taste. Try it. It can be helpful. So I spoke about your physical health, your mental health, and then there is the financial health. So when it comes to stress and am I able to maintain my sanity, how is my financial health? Do I feel secure? Am I budgeting? Do I have all of my bills on auto pay, or is it just coming out or not coming out and I'm missing the deadline? Am I disorganized and I'm not able to pay my bills, or I can't track my budgets or what's going in and what's going out? Do I need some help with that? Because financial health and lack thereof can be very stressful and increase our stress. So, first, identifying what is going on and what parts of my health do I need to focus on the most, and prioritizing that is very key because all of this funnels into our mental health in general. And I'm not a financial coach, so I'm not here to talk about exactly how to get your finances together, but Financial Peace University is definitely a way to go. But at least, firstly, identifying that it could be something within your financial health realm that could be increasing your stress, and then focusing on that, because then that can reduce your stress, right? Maybe you can't increase your income, but you can at least manage or change how you use your money or how you spend your money, which can make a world of a difference. Just that knowledge can make a difference with what you're doing with the money that's already coming in, even if it does not increase. So I mentioned physical health, mental health, financial health, and then there is aspirational health, what you aspire. How is that? Do you feel like you have purpose? Do you feel like you're living in your purpose, in your meaning of life? Most people don't feel that way. Most people don't feel like they're living their purpose. Most people had a dream of what they wanted to be, and they look back and they realize they're working a mundane job that they don't like, and they feel like they have to work it just to get the bills paid. Dream and be free. Write it down and make a plan. It doesn't mean quit your job, but maybe there's still a chance to do that thing despite your age, or despite your doing right now, or despite your education. Does it involve going back to school, or does it involve just getting a certificate or getting some training or vocational school or something like that? Why not? Why can't you do that thing that you really wanted to do? Do you have to make money to do that thing that you really want to do? Or is it sufficient for you to just adopt it as a hobby and you just love doing it along with your job? So think about your aspirational health. How is it doing? Because if you are physically healthy and doing well, and you feel financially free, and your mental health is well, and you just feel great in that category, but your purpose, you don't feel like you're being fulfilled, that can increase anxiety in and of itself. So that's why we have to think about the different types of health and how we can maintain our sanity. That's what we're talking about today. So what are some daily habits to maintain our sanity when it comes to our aspirational health? How is that possible? Do the self-reflection each day. I've mentioned before that first thing in the morning is to reflect on yourself, feed into yourself. So whether first thing in the morning you do that self-reflection, you're journaling and thinking about your day, thinking about where you'd like to be, thinking about your goals for the year, for the month, for the week, for the day, and have you been able to accomplish it? So feeding into yourself first helps. Asking yourself questions. What are some very short-term plans? What are some long-term goals for yourself? What are some moderate goals? And then addressing it, and also cutting yourself some slack if you're not able to complete those goals that you wanted to complete, because nobody's perfect and sometimes deadlines have to be adjusted. Okay. And so the last type of health I mentioned, the physical health, the mental health, the financial health, and your aspirational health. The last type of health is social health. So every other category can be doing just fine, But if relationships are down the drain, or if you've had a breakup or a loss and you're grieving, that can affect your social health, your sense of belonging, your connectedness to society, to your community, to your family. So social health could be different things. Maybe you do have a family, immediate family, but maybe you don't feel like that community connection. Maybe you're not a part of a larger group and there's something there that a void needs to be filled. But whatever it is, think about what that is that will make your social health better. Is it going back to church because you've been watching it and streaming it online and that just doesn't quite cut it because being in person is better? Is it that you're a part of a sorority and fraternity and you have not been going to anything? So thinking about that, is it someone you need to call? Someone you need to call that you haven't spoken to in a long time? So when you wake up in the morning, and this is why it's good to keep a journal, thinking about every aspect of your health. What can I do today that enhances my physical health? What kind of exercise can I do? What can I do today that enhances my mental health? Is it grounding? Is it meditation? Is it the journaling? Is it the exercising? Because exercising can enhance our physical health and our mental health. Is it listening to music, going out with a friend? That enhances the social health and the mental health. So it all goes together, right? But sometimes we need to spell it out for ourselves and figure out, okay, what is causing this stress? Is it because I'm not feeling a sense of belonging? Or is it because my physical health is poor? Is it because, oh, that's right, I wasn't able to pay that bill, so now I'm struggling? So that sense of being able to reflect and think about your thoughts. What was it that made me feel this way all of a sudden? All of that's tied together. So that is definitely important when it comes to strategies for sustaining sanity with less than therapy, because that's the first level for everyone. You don't just start out in therapy. There's self-care routines, self-care activities, all those things that we need to keep up with for less than therapy. And if less than therapy doesn't help, then that's when we consider going to therapy. And if therapy doesn't help, we consider going to a psychiatrist to think about, do I need a medication that is helpful? And when you're at this medication level, that doesn't mean the less than therapy strategies no longer are there. You're still always doing that. And then that doesn't mean you're not continuing to be in therapy just because you're on medication. So it's all of the above. All right. So wouldn't it be nice to have a journal that helps you walk through these 5 different types of health? Stay tuned because yours truly will be coming out with one. So thank you for listening. Less than therapy, daily habits to sustaining your sanity. Have a good one.